Ah, yes. Welcome back to Deep Dive Podcast, where we dive so deep into the world's weirdness that even Google Maps says, you sure? Today, we're talking about a man who apparently thought Grand Theft Auto Online was a business model. So grab your coffee, your VPN, and possibly your lawyer, because we're going to Cambodia, the land of temples, traffic, and now billion-dollar cyber scams.
So let's just start with the headline number, shall we? $15 billion. I mean, just let that sink in for a second. This is by far the single largest forfeiture the U.S. Department of Justice has ever gone after. It tells you right away that we are not talking about some small-time operation here.
And get this, that $15 billion wasn't sitting in a bank somewhere. Nope, it was seized as more than 127,000 Bitcoin. It's a perfect example of how the biggest financial crimes have gone digital, hiding in the wild west of cryptocurrency.
So that leads to the obvious questions, right? How in the world does someone get their hands on that much stolen crypto? And maybe more importantly, who is the person, the mastermind, capable of building an empire like this?
All right, so Chen Zhi. If you haven't heard of him, he's a Cambodian businessman whose resume reads like a Bond villain application. The U.S. government claims that behind his public image as a respected philanthropist, he was running a truly dark and violent criminal enterprise.
And the difference between these two pictures is just wild. On the one hand, his company website calls him a respected entrepreneur, a pillar of the community. But then you have the U.S. Attorney's Office calling him the mastermind of an empire built on human suffering. It's this complete disconnect that let him operate in plain sight for so long.
And his rise was, well, it was unbelievably fast. He shows up in Cambodia in 2011, and by the time he's just 27, he's founding this massive company, the Prince Group. A few years later, he's got his own bank, a European passport, and he even gets awarded Cambodia's highest royal title. Yes, Prince. Because nothing says royalty like a guy whose LinkedIn skills include scamming with style. I swear we're living in a movie.
And just look at the list of his legitimate businesses. We're talking real estate, a bank, an airline, luxury hotels, the whole shebang. According to prosecutors, this huge, very public corporate empire was the perfect washing machine to clean all the dirty money he was making on the side.
So if those businesses were the public face, where did the actual $15 billion come from? Well, this is where the story gets really, really dark. We're going inside the scam compounds, the engine that powered this whole thing, built on a foundation of pure human misery.
The main scam they were running is called pig butchering. And yeah, the name is just as awful as the crime. Basically, scammers, many of whom were trafficked and forced to do this, would build fake online relationships with people. They'd spend weeks, even months earning their trust, fattening the pigs, so to speak, before convincing them to put all their money into a fake crypto investment. And then, poof, everything's gone.
And the conditions inside these scam compounds, they were just horrific. This is a direct quote from the DOJ complaint, and it's absolutely chilling. It alleges Chen himself approved beating the workers, but told his guys not to beat them to death. It just shows you the calculated, cold-blooded cruelty we're talking about here.
And this isn't just based on testimony. Prosecutors have physical evidence. This is a ledger they say was kept by Chen Zhi himself. It's literally a spreadsheet tracking profits from the scam compound. And look, it even explicitly uses the term shaju, the Chinese name for pig butchering. It was a business, plain and simple.
And Chen's operation wasn't some one-off thing. This is a massive regional crisis. The DOJ cites estimates that over 350,000 people have been trafficked and forced to work in these scam centers across Southeast Asia. It's a staggering humanitarian disaster. Hey, before we go any further down this rabbit hole of criminal creativity, let me do what Chen Zhi does best. Ask for money. If you're enjoying the show, hit that subscribe button like you're clicking on a fake crypto link. Except this time, you actually get something good. Leave a review too, preferably 5 stars. Every subscription helps me keep the lights on. And unlike Chen Zhi's operation, nobody's being trafficked here, just your attention span.
All right, so you've scammed people out of billions in crypto. Now you have another problem. How do you spend it? You can't just wire it to your bank account. You've got to make it look legitimate. You've got to launder it.
And these guys were pros. Investigators laid out their 3-step crypto wash cycle. First, they'd spray the stolen crypto, breaking it into tiny amounts and sending it to thousands of different digital wallets. Then they'd commingle it, mixing that dirty money with clean Bitcoin from their own mining farms. And finally, they'd funnel it all back together into a new, clean-looking wallet.
And this isn't just a theory. They have the receipts. This is an actual FBI diagram,
tracing the flow of funds on the blockchain. You can see it right here. Clean Bitcoin from a mining pool getting sprayed out to 22 different addresses, all before landing back in wallets controlled by Chen's crew. It's amazing they could track this.
And they got even fancier. This next diagram shows them using shell companies to add more layers to the wash cycle. It's like a maze. They laundered over 26,000 Bitcoin this way before it finally landed in a clean wallet. This is corporate-level, professional money laundering.
But you want to know the most brazen part of all this? It's this quote, again from the indictment. Chen Zhi was apparently boasting about his crypto mining business, saying, "The profit is considerable because there is no cost." Yeah, no kidding, there's no cost. Your entire business is funded with money you stole from innocent people. The audacity is just off the charts.
Okay, so when you have a criminal enterprise this huge, crossing borders and using global financial systems, you're gonna get noticed. It was only a matter of time before an international law enforcement effort came together to try and take it all down.
And here we go. This is the hammer coming down, the official indictment filed in New York, formally charging Chen Zhi. This document is what kicks off the public dismantling of this criminal empire.
And taking this thing down was a real team effort. You had the U.S. Department of Justice filing the indictment, the U.S. Treasury hit them with sanctions, labeling them a transnational criminal organization. Even the UK got involved, freezing their assets, including fancy properties in London. It was a full court press from every angle.
But, and this is the cliffhanger, here's the kicker. Despite all of that, the indictments, the sanctions, seizing $15 billion worth of Bitcoin, the guy at the very top, Chen Zhi, is still at large. The story isn't over, not by a long shot.
So what do we learn today, class? 1. When a businessman calls himself a visionary, check if his vision involves your bank account. 2. If a prince offers you a guaranteed investment, it's probably not in heaven. And 3. Never underestimate human creativity, especially when it's used for evil and Excel spreadsheets. Big thanks to our brilliant producer, FireflyHaku, who somehow made this episode sound like a real show and not a YouTube conspiracy rant in 4K. And thank you for listening to Deep Dive Podcast, where we dive deep so you don't have to get wet. Until next time, stay curious, stay skeptical, and for the love of Wi-Fi, don't click on that investment link in your DMs.